So Redfin is now with some big numbers coming out and showing investors that, hey, maybe now is not the best time to be buying real estate because Redfin is reporting a lot of new listings, a lot of pending sales. New listings and pending sales are up in September, but the deals were canceled at the highest rates in almost a year. So we're seeing some pretty crazy stuff happening. And yes, there's still a lot of cities in the US where prices are stable and where prices are still going up. But we're seeing a lot of buyers not wanting to be suckers and paying for an insanely expensive mortgage. Now, yeah, back in 2019, homes were slightly cheaper, but you have very low interest rates, right? 2020, even lower. And that was kind of like when the housing boom really started. Like people started buying houses like crazy. But now, mortgage demand is super low as the numbers in 1995. We're actually seeing many commercial real estate pieces, many of these offices in San Francisco, for example, having their prices sit back to the early 2000s. This is how bad it's getting in the real estate market. And a lot of home buyers just don't want to be paying an insane mortgage, right? Especially people who want to invest in real estate. You're only putting 10, 30, maybe 40% down at the very most, right? Some people put like 5% down. Like what these landlords want to do is make money from the rentals. And since with mortgage rates are being this high, they just can't make any more money from their rentals. And they're selling them. Pending sales are ticking up, meaning people are buying homes like crazy, but the amount of people who close on those sales are ticking down. It's very interesting because you have a lot of people who are going to the housing market. They go on Zillow, they see all these really incredible, cool houses. They get trigger happy. They click on one of these homes, they like it, they tour it, they go with their gut, and they buy one of these homes. And then after like a few weeks of thinking, they go to the bank, they see how high the interest rates are, they get freaked out, so they just cancel the home. And a lot of times they do lose that initial few thousand, even few $10,000 of contract money. So this is what we're seeing here. Roughly 53,000 US home purchase agreements were canceled in September. This is equal to 16.3% of homes that went into under contract that month. This is the highest percentage since October 2022. This is not great, guys. Because usually when people put money down for a home, they go with it, right? They get the contract, right? They get the agents, they get everyone else to inspect the home. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to buy it, right? You already spent so much initial money and time. But we're seeing more people pull out of these deals than ever before. And even in some of the most popular cities like Miami, for example, you're already getting some of the fattest price cuts. Look at this condo. It's its 10th price cut. It's already at $500,000. And for such a good city like Miami, almost 1,000 square feet in a massive condo for $500,000 is a very good deal. And even Miami is facing a pretty big crisis when it comes to these homes. And they're oversupplying, they're overbuilding, and we're seeing this everywhere. Apartment rents are on the verge of declining due to massive new supply. Rents in August were just 0.28% higher than August 2022. And we're actually seeing many cities in the US having rents drop by several percentages. Now, obviously, you got places like Miami, rents aren't really dropping. They're more like stabilizing. And if you go to the Midwest, like if you go to like Cincinnati, for example, this is also one of those places where you're not going to be seeing rents dropping because it's one of those places where you're seeing an inflow of people, and many of these smaller suburban neighborhoods are actually flourishing pretty well, with many other real estate pieces actually stabilizing in price. And a lot of these units are not having declines in rent. But the moment you go to places like Portland or Seattle, for example, you're starting to see big rent declines. It's usually the bigger American cities, usually on the West Coast, that's experiencing this. But also places like Austin, Las Vegas, and Chicago, all experiencing massive rent declines. But nothing as worse as Oakland, right? Oakland rents fall the fastest among large U.S. cities, with the monthly cost of a one-bedroom apartment in this area dropping 7.2% while vacancy rises. Oakland's one of those cities where you got a population decrease, but at the same time, developers are wrapping up many of their apartment units, and many of these apartment units are staying completely vacant. Same thing if you go to places like San Francisco and especially San Jose, you still have very delusional landlords that are still charging a premium for their units, and nobody is renting those units. And we're seeing record foreclosures, whole entire new condo buildings being sent back to the bank because there's no buyers, there's no renters, and nobody wants the whole entire building. And it's only going to get worse, guys. And one of the biggest reasons why many of these home buyers are bailing out is, one, you have insanely high mortgage rates, right? 30-year mortgage, like 8%. Like, I'm not paying for that. I'm definitely not paying for that. That is such an absurd amount of money that you're just paying to the bank. And you also have a lot of people who initially went crazy with the real estate investing during the pandemic. Many of those guys are actually selling their homes. This is why you're seeing record foreclosures, which is some scary stuff. Like I said before, high rates are not good, but more importantly, you also have very high treasuries, very high bonds. Bill Ackman covers the bet against treasuries, says too much risk in the world to bet against bonds. Here's the thing, if you guys don't understand this, it's pretty simple. CDs right now, 12-year CDs, you lock your money in for 12 months. That's what I meant. 12-month CDs, you get like 5 to 6%. It's an insanely good deal, and many people are going for this. You have $1 million. At first, you want to buy a house with that $1 million. But now, you could just put in the CD for 12 months, and you can make $50,000 to $60,000. Many of the rich buyers, people who buy luxury real estate for investing, are no longer seeing luxury real estate and also condos, for example, as safe haven investments. It used to be you buy one of these houses in Seattle, for example, and it was like a super smart move, right? You know, low rates, no brainer, just buy one of these houses and you're set. But now, with interest rates being super high, if you buy one of these, you're probably going to be losing money. Not to mention, you're not going to be paying that in cash. A lot of investors usually take out loans. That's a smart thing to do. But with loans being super expensive, why would you do that? You're losing money like worse than a jet if you buy one of these higher tier $2-3 million houses. So why not put $2-3 million into like bonds and treasuries and CDs? It's risk-free, basically, and you make hundreds of thousands of dollars if you have a few $1 million. And you just sit on your butt. You just sit on the couch and wait for money to come in. It's such a great thing to have, okay? I mean, if I had $1 million, I would not be buying real estate right now. I would absolutely not buy real estate with rent declines happening and also weird population inflows and outflows happening in cities. I'd much rather put that $1 million into like a CD, okay? Like a 12-month CD. Some smaller banks even have a 10-month CD, even with some special deals as well. It's just an example, right? And with treasuries being this high, with bonds being this high, you also see a lot of investors selling assets like stocks and putting them into these high rates and making risk-free money, basically. And we're also seeing things like 8% mortgage, right? This is just too high. The market is scaring off buyers and sellers. In fact, many sellers don't even want to sell because they can't find a new home because of the high mortgage rates. We're also seeing buyers refusing to buy. So this is really just creating a very, very cold real estate environment that's just not sustainable in the long term. Not to mention, I'll talk about this in a separate video, but the U.S. commercial real estate crisis is just happening and it's only getting worse. We're seeing record foreclosures in Chicago, record foreclosures in Portland and San Francisco, and it's just the beginning. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you later.